what I'm doing is I have a maintenance contract at several of the AEP power plants, and the boiler work is involved in that. And the case we're talking about right now is I'm doing a job at a 1,300 megawatt plant. We need a full boiler scaffold, perimeter decking, headache deck at the bull nose, and scaffolding in the superheat. The old way of doing it is you take a man line. I'll have basically 20 decks of scaffolding every 6 foot 6 inches perimeter throughout the boiler. The boiler's so big at 120 feet, I divide that and work off of each end. So each time I add a deck, I add a man in a pass line. Where we're looking at 20 decks, I'm looking at 20 men just from the time I'm at the throat till I get to my headache deck. By using the Maxial Hoists, I pass my material in to the bottom. I eliminate my man lines. So each time I go up, instead of adding a man, my manpower stays the same. Without the Maxials, I will use roughly 20 men per line additional, just for the passing line. However many lifts I have, let's say there's 20 lifts, and I'm doing it 2 times, that's 40 additional men that I have to have on site to move the material up and down that the hoist take the place of. But what it does is, first of all, my exposure to liability of someone getting hurt is reduced dramatically. I'm eliminating 40 men that's going to be passing material hand over hand, 10 hours a day for 10 shifts to build this. The biggest thing is just the safety factor. I no longer have 40 sets of arms pumping material all day. And instead, I'm replacing with this mechanical source that cuts out that liability and exposure. There's a roughly 18 to 20,000 pieces of material that goes into a 1,300 megawatt boiler. So, you figured out yourself that, the risk of dropping one of those pieces. When you have 20 people, or 40 people, 2 lines of 20, handling 10,000 pieces each. Human error will come into play here at some point. It's proved out. In scaffolding, the biggest majority of, if I go back on my history, the most accidents I will have will be on a boiler situation. 50 to 75% of them is going to be boiler-specific accidents. So I've eliminated those accidents to the point. Something that we're very proud of as a company is my EMR rating is 0.58. For a scaffold company, that's unbelievable to have a 0.58. And a lot of that we contribute back to, all right, most of your accidents are in boilers. We have eliminated the probability of that accident by doing away with those people in that boiler. And that 0.58 puts me in a much better light with the customer, especially that doesn't know me, that's saying, hey, this guy's safe. So, we contribute that safety back to that Maxial. So the Maxial has pretty much become a very important piece of our equipment in boilers. This last case, this boiler we just did, I was having trouble getting a hoist. My superintendent was in an absolute panic. The thought of being able to do a boiler without a hoist now doesn't cross their mind. Before it was, there's no other way of doing it but hand over hand, extra men. Now they're to the point and they see the benefits of it that it's like, whatever you got to do, get these hoists. We don't care. We can't do it without them. A hard dollar bid, I have to look at this and give them a lump sum price. If I do not have the Maxial, I would have to figure in that pass line of an additional 30 to 40 men, labor, that I would have to pass on to the customer. Using the Maxial hoist, I don't have to figure with that extra labor. It's taking all the middle labor out. Therefore, I can be more competitive on my contract numbers because I don't require the manpower labor that I would doing it the old conventional way. The manpower and the limits to exposure, for accidents and things, how do you put a price on that? You're reducing manpower, so you're reducing liability. I've transitioned this outside of a boiler. I did some walls, like re-insulating walls, or, for insulators, big precipitators, things like that. I'll put a Maxial up there. Same thing. If you're up 10 to 12 lifts high, well, I need 2 guys on top and 3 on the bottom. I don't need that man line. I don't need that rope and wheel, somebody pulling all day long. My production goes up. The Maxial has never taken a bathroom break or stepped out of line because they got dirt in their eye or needed a drink.